In 2016, viral photos and videos of a volunteer woman who gave bottled water and fed a little African boy, whom all his tribesmen considered a little witch, flew around the world. Then these shots literally stirred the hearts of all concerned people. And today you will find out what happened to this boy after 7 years. According to the law in Nigeria, it is forbidden to brand people with the shameful word witch, but, unfortunately, this cruel medieval custom is still found in many settlements. Those accused of witchcraft are immediately rejected by their families. They are persecuted and sometimes even killed. Schools refuse to teach such children, and in the end they are doomed. Religious leaders in Nigeria often specifically accuse people of witchcraft so that their loved ones pay a hefty price for exorcising evil spirits. Unfortunately, many parents simply do not have the money to pay for the services of local priests. Or they even refuse to pay, leaving the kids to fend for themselves. That's exactly what the boy's parents did from that very photo. According to passers-by, he was on the verge of life and death, for 8 months eating what he found on the street and digging in trash cans. At the same time, the indifferent residents of the settlement just passed by. The fate of the poor girl would have been very sad if a Danish volunteer from the charity Anja Ringren had not noticed an emaciated abandoned baby on one of the dusty roads. Noticing the lonely boy, the woman immediately stopped the car and gave him water, after which she took him to the nearest hospital, where he was promptly prescribed a course of treatment. The boy had to undergo many procedures for gastric parasites. He needed blood transfusions to combat a shortage of red blood cells, and this was only a small part of what the baby needed to recover. Shortly after the rescue, Anya posted a video on the internet in which she gives water to a little boy in order to draw attention to the tragic problem of the rejected witches and raise funds to help them. The photos and videos quickly went viral, and the boy's story touched the hearts of millions. The story of the poor girl inspired people to donate more than $1 million to the Fund for Education and Development of African Children. A non-profit organization founded by loving and rescuing the so-called witches of Nigeria. As a result, Anya decided to shelter the boy and named him Hope, honestly admitting that when she first saw the poor thing, she was absolutely sure that he would not survive. The woman decided to give him the name Hope so that he would finally have hope for a normal life. 2 months after starting treatment, Hope finally made a full recovery. By this point, an incredible transformation had taken place. The boy regained his former energy and smile, and even started playing with other children. Little Hope was now growing up in a family-type orphanage, where Anya took on the role of his mother. A year later, the boy fully recovered and even started going to school. A year later, the pupil began to look much better and was not at all like the poor thing that the volunteer picked up right on the road. The shelter where Hope now lives, Anya and her husband opened in 2016 in southeastern Nigeria specifically for disadvantaged children who found themselves on the street because of terrible superstitions. All the students live here like one big family, and each child gets everything they need, as well as the love and affection they missed so much on the street. Looking at these photos of the grown-up Hope, it is impossible to believe that a few years ago he was accused of witchcraft and thrown on the street to certain death. In just 1 year, the boy transformed in an incredible way, leaving behind a skin-covered skeleton that could barely stand on its feet. Anya married Nigerian David, and now they run a center for abandoned children together. Here, young pupils receive everything they need: shelter, food, medical care, and education. But most importantly, They get a family that loves and cares for them. Anya and David also have their own child, David Jr., who has been living next to foster children since his birth. Also, coincidentally, David Jr. and Hope are about the same age. When Hope got to the center, David was the first peer with whom the frightened boy began to communicate. And soon they became best friends. In 2022, Hope met his biological father for the first time in his life. Despite all the hardships that Hope went through in the early years of his life, he was happy to see his dad. And in September 2023, Hope finally met his biological mother. It turns out that a few years ago, the village headman chose Hope's future mother as his wife and impregnated her. As a result, she gave birth to her first child at the age of 15. Now she strongly regrets that she abandoned the baby, who, despite everything, was able to forgive his mother and thank her for everything. Hope has become much stronger today. He still lives in the shelter and calls Anya his mom. The guy also helps other children and does his best to support his foster parents in their important work. Thanks to the funds of the Ani Charitable Foundation, a new large shelter is now being built in Nigeria, which is called the Land of Hope. A huge number of people from all over the world have made donations to this woman with her big and kind heart. Thousands of people continue to contribute to the best of their abilities, and Anya uses these funds to save even more innocent little lives. As for the reward for her work, Anya says that seeing the smiles of these children is the best reward she could have dreamed of. Hope's smile became a real symbol of hope for her. This story proves once again that when people unite in achieving common goals, they can achieve even the impossible. Of course, Hope's story has a happy ending, but there are still a lot of children around the world who need our help so much.